members of the media, and the listening public. Today I am here to provide the results of the third quarter GDP and economic performance. They tell a powerful story about Bermuda's resilience, our economic acceleration, and the collective confidence in Bermuda. These results are more than numbers. They reflect the strength of our people, the stability of our institutions, and the demonstration of an economy that continues to outperform expectations. During the third quarter of 2025, Bermuda's economy experienced robust growth, expanding 9.9% after adjusting for inflation. This is the largest quarterly growth experience since the 10.2% expansion registered in the second quarter of 2021. The strong economic expansion in the third quarter was a direct result of a strong trade balance, increased investment, and robust government and consumer spending. Consumer spending in the third quarter increased 1.1% year over year to $862.9 million. Consumption of services increased 1% year over year, reflected in higher expenditure on air transport services, catering services, and personal care services. Spending on durable and non-durable goods rose 1.6%, influenced primarily by spending on fuel and power, food, and non-alcoholic beverages. Spending on durable goods increased 1.1%, due largely to increased expenditure on jewelry, clocks and watches, and new and used cars. Employment income in the third quarter was up 4.5% above 2024 levels. Employment income in the following industries increased in the third quarter of 2025. International business, 2.7%, hotels and restaurants, 6.6%, business services, 7.6%, wholesale and retail, 2.2%, public administration and defense, 12.6%, and construction, 12.7%. The third quarter growth in employee remuneration in these sectors is positive, and the income levels continue to demonstrate a robust labor market. Consumption by the government increased 5.4% during the quarter, with higher expenditure on wages and salaries. Gross capital formation grew by 11.6% to $207.3 million. Investment related to construction rose 5.8%, and investment in machinery and equipment increased by 17% due to higher imports of agricultural and industrial machinery. Bermuda's trade balance rose by 32.8% to $473.4 million, as growth in the receipts of exports of goods and services expanded while payments for importing goods and services contracted. Exports of goods and services increased by 8.7% during the quarter. Imports of goods and services decreased by 8.3%, driven by lower fuel imports. The total number of local businesses registered in Bermuda abated year over year, bringing the complete business register to 3,830. There were 42 new local businesses registered in Bermuda during the third quarter of 2025. Overall, the third quarter's performance reflects encouraging momentum across key economic indicators, including rising employment remuneration, increased government spending, robust investment activity, and a strengthened trade balance. These positive trends affirm the country's growth trajectory. The government will continue to execute the strategic initiatives outlined in the Economic Development Strategy to ensure that Bermuda experiences sustainable economic growth and development. In addition, the government will be releasing shortly a fintech strategy, as well as a national entrepreneurship strategy that will further support diversified and inclusive economic growth and development. Thank you. For more information, please review the Quarter 3, 2025, quarterly GDP by expenditure and balance of payments, and international investment position publications available at the Department of Statistics website online at gov.bm.
Thank you, Minister. We would now like to invite members of the media to ask their questions, starting with the BBC. Can you please say your name and where you're from?
Gary Foster Skelton, Bermuda Broadcasting. Good afternoon, Minister. Just to go back to a couple of those figures of employment income going up, public administration 12.6%, was that correct? Is that continuing? Obviously, there was public administration saw a 19.9% increase for quarter 2. Is this the continuation of that, the increases in wages and salaries in public administration, and is that going to eventually balance out?
That's correct. For the remainder of 2025, you're going to see a year-over-year increase in wages for public service employees that will balance out after we get past this reporting period.
Okay. And you noted, what was the construction employment increase?
12.7%.
And do you have any more specifics on that? Are we looking at the Fairmont Southampton there, or other projects?
So when you look at employee income levels, it indicates two things. It indicates progression in salaries as well as an expansion of jobs in that particular sector. And so it's a combination of both.
Okay. And you noted the exports of goods and services. Obviously, it's primarily going to be our services. What were the particular things that that we were exporting at that time? Was it a reduction in imports or an increase in our exports of services that primarily had made the trade balance work?
So it was a combination of both. Okay. It was an increase in the export of services and a decrease in the imports of goods.
What was the services that we were increasing?
Typically, the strong services are professional services, services and salaries and compensation of employees in the international business sector.
Okay, thank you. And I just want to touch on something that was raised by the Chamber of Commerce after the last GDP update, which was last month. And they were talking about the regularity, or rather the irregularity of our updates. Obviously, we had a quarter 2 2025 update last month. 1 month later, we're getting the quarter 3 update, but then the period between these updates, it's a little random at this time. Is there any chance of being able to commit to set times of getting these updates in relation to the period that they relate to?
And so we do have what we would consider to be standard reporting time periods. There was a delay in the second quarter 2025 GDP, admittedly, but you've seen where we've turned around in short order a third quarter 2025 GDP. And so we should be noted for our improvement quarter over quarter. But what I would also state is part of us putting out timely data is receiving information in a timely manner as well. And so businesses in Bermuda have a responsibility to ensure that they're providing timely data to the Department of Statistics.
Okay, and so are there any particular sectors that really do need to themselves ensure their data is coming in at a regular basis?
No, it's just general encouragement. The only way we can get song data is if we collect song data from the stakeholders within our community. And I'm encouraging all, when the Department of Statistics reaches out to get data, that they provide that data in a timely manner. The timeliness of the data we receive allows us to put out publications in a more efficient manner.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Minister. Albert Solomon from the Royal Gazette. You mentioned the fintech strategy is going to be released at some point. Can you say what aspects of this strategy are being fine-tuned at this time?
And so when we look at our fintech strategy, we want to ensure that we have a proper regulatory environment for any technology that we want to integrate in our ecosystem. We want to also ensure that we are building the appropriate capacity within our economy that facilitates that technology, and then also ensuring that we have the human capital development so that we don't have an economy that's moving away from the people who we actually want to utilize that technology.
So do you have an idea as to when digital finance is going to really become the third pillar of the economy as the government had projected in the past?
I think what you're going to see is a growing increase of digital finance within our economy. If you look worldwide, you can't have an economy of the future without an increase in technology. AI is going to become more prevalent within our society, as well as ensuring that we have a government that delivers the expectations of the people of Bermuda. And that means we have to deliver services in a more efficient way. The only way we can do so is if we integrate greater levels of technology in the way in which we provide services to the people of Bermuda.
Okay, there's a question on the tourism sector. This week, tourism sector report was published, and the Royal Gazette published some aspects of it in a report today. It showed that there was a 4.5 input into the GDP of the country, and then last year, I think it was, 2023, it was 4.6. Could you just comment on what aspects of the tourism industry, what indicators are there, that things are going to improve in the years to come?
And so those tourism numbers for 2024 in particular, they wouldn't have numbers for Fremont, Southampton, Princess. And so we know that we're operating with a contracted tourism sector right now. Having tourism under 5% is not desirable from a government standpoint. And so it is our aim to increase the contribution of tourism to our economic activity. But we have diversified away from tourism, but we still want to boost the tourism back up. And so it's kind of a two-pronged type of approach. But what I would say is the contribution to GDP is not the significant factor for tourism. Number one is the employment aspect. Tourism is responsible for a large percentage of our local jobs, and we want to ensure that that increases, as well as tourism is responsible for a large portion of government taxation.
Okay, and you participated in the World Governments Forum this month in UAE. Could you just say what are some of the takeaways you got from the forum itself and the discussions that you had?
It's about being transformative. I was in a society that turns itself from a desert into a metropolis. And it was a future-forward thinking government, one that is focused on the future, one that is focused on closing the gap between ambition and reality. And I observed the work that they have done to progress the society. And so I'm bringing that same energy back to Bermuda, and we will also develop a new economy strategy after the conclusion of our economic development strategy in 2027. And so we're already commencing the work of a new economy strategy in Bermuda.
Just one last question. The government in the past, the PLP has spoken to closing the gap that exists between the general community and other aspects of the population. Can you say if, in your opinion, progress has been made in that regard?
If you look at employment income, you can see that progress has been made. If you look at and listen to what will come out in the budget, you will see that we're trying our best to reduce taxes on persons so that they can have more purchasing power and a better quality of life. Everything this government does is deliberate as it pertains to what is in the best interest of the people of Bermuda. And so we have a long track record of putting policy measures in place that support the growth, development, and the empowerment of the people of Bermuda.
Just one final question that might be a bit ambitious on my part. The PLP leadership, I think the Premier has signaled his intention to not run for to hold a position in October. Do you have any intention of running for the leadership of the party?
Certainly, that is a matter for the Progressive Labour Party. I don't want to be like the other party and discuss internal politics in the public domain.
All right, thank you so much. So concludes our press conference.
Thank you.